Welcome back to the sanctuary of absolute truth, the only digital theater where we strip away the glittering layers of fame to reveal the raw, often bleeding reality beneath. You are watching Whatever You Need, your premier source for a level of celebrity analysis that the mainstream media simply cannot reach. If you have been searching for a channel that treats the complexities of human emotion with the reverence they deserve, refusing to settle for shallow clickbait, and instead offering profound insights, then you have finally arrived home. Today we are stepping onto a television set that was supposed to be a place of professional creation, but instead became a battlefield of suppressed emotions and unmasked jealousy. We are talking about Cemre Arda, an actress whose talent is matched only by her ironclad discipline, and Gökberk Yıldırım, a man whose silence has long been interpreted as strength. Until the moment that silence shattered in front of the entire world. A single kissing scene, a brief moment of cinematic intimacy, has triggered a chain of events that may have permanently severed the bond between these two stars. Before we dive into the heart of this explosive set-side confrontation, I need to remind you that your support is the only thing that allows us to remain independent. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel and activate the notification bell so you never miss a beat of the industry's pulse. And for those of you who want to gain access to our exclusive, deep dive theories and unique member badges, I strongly urge you to click the join button below. Your contribution ensures that Whatever You Need remains the gold standard of celebrity news. Now settle in, as we explore the day the script was thrown out the window and reality took over. A performance too real for comfort in the grand tapestry of a television production, there are moments meant to be the pillars of the narrative, scenes designed to capture the audience's breath and secure the season's ratings. Such was the case for the kissing scene between Cemre Arda and her co-star, a moment meticulously planned as the emotional zenith of the storyline. Cemre, a woman whose reputation for impeccable professionalism is legendary among her peers, approached the scene with the same focused intensity she brings to every frame. The director called for romantic tension, for an intimacy that felt earned and visceral. What he received was something far more potent. When the cameras began to roll, Cemre performed with a naturalness so disarming that it effectively silenced the entire crew. The kiss was brief, a flickering spark of cinematic magic, but its authenticity was so undeniable that the director, seeking to immortalize the chemistry, requested one final take. It was in that specific moment, the second take, where the professional atmosphere began to curdle. Gökberk Yıldırım, who was not scheduled to film but had chosen to visit the set that day, stood in the shadows of the periphery. At first, he was the picture of stoic support, his arms crossed over his chest, his expression unreadable behind a mask of serious observation. However, as the cameras focused on the intimacy between Cemre and another man, those standing near Gawkberg reported a terrifying shift in his aura. The polite observer vanished, replaced by a man witnessing a transgression he could not quantify. When the director finally called cut and the crew broke into spontaneous applause for the beauty of the scene, Gawkberg did not join them. Instead, he turned and vanished into the trailers, his silence more ominous than any shout. This wasn't the script, I was told. The piece did not last. Minutes after his initial disappearance, Gökberk Yıldırım returned to the set, not as a visitor, but as a force of nature fueled by a sense of perceived betrayal. He bypassed the assistants and went directly to the heart of the production team, his voice cutting through the post-scene chatter with the sharpness of a blade. He reportedly demanded an immediate explanation, claiming with audible fury that the scene he had just witnessed was a grotesque departure from the script he had been led to believe existed. "This wasn't in the script the way I was told," he allegedly roared, his words hanging in the air like a sudden storm. The atmosphere on set, which had been celebratory just moments before, instantly transformed into a space of paralyzing tension. The crew, the writers, and even the director were caught off guard. It was a moment where the professional boundary was not just blurred but obliterated. Gawkberg's reaction was not that of a colleague concerned with narrative continuity. It was the reaction of a man whose personal territory had been encroached upon in a public forum. Despite the fact that Cemre and Gawkberg have spent months carefully navigating a relationship that remains officially unconfirmed, this outburst provided more confirmation than 1,000 press releases ever could. A question for the whatever you need family. I want to pause here and bring you, our sophisticated audience, into this moral dilemma. In the world of professional acting, where intimacy is a tool of the trade, is a partner's jealousy ever justified? If you were in Gawkberg's position, watching the person you love share a deeply realistic kiss for the sake of art, would you be able to remain silent? Or do you believe that when you love an actor, you must forfeit the right to be jealous? Please, head down to the comments section right now. We want to read your thoughts on where the line should be drawn between a career and a relationship. And while you are there, don't forget to hit the like button if you appreciate our commitment to exploring the psychological depths of these events. Truths spoken too late. The situation escalated from a public set-side outburst to a private, devastating confrontation. Once the cameras were truly off and the production was halted by the sheer weight of the tension, Cemre and Gawkberg retreated to a dressing room to attempt a reconciliation, or perhaps a final accounting. What began as a discussion about professional duty rapidly devolved into a heated argument, filled with the toxic energy of months of unresolved emotions and unspoken promises. Sources close to the production, who were unfortunate enough to be within earshot, reported a dialogue that sounded like the final act of a tragedy. Gawkberg's accusations were reportedly centered on a feeling of being sidelined, while Cemre's defense was built on the foundation of her own agency. "You always say nothing's wrong, but look at you," Gawkberg was heard saying, his voice thick with a mixture of resentment and pain. Cemre's response was a stinging indictment of their lack of clear status. "You can't demand something from me that you never dared to define." It was a moment of brutal clarity. Gawkberg wanted the exclusivity of a husband without the vulnerability of declaring himself one. Cemre, caught in the crossfire of her career and her heart, finally reached her breaking point. She left the dressing room with eyes red from weeping, avoiding the gaze of the lingering press, and vanished from the set hours before her scheduled wrap time. The sovereignty of the artist. In the aftermath of the explosion, the industry waited for a sign of contrition or a public apology. It never came. Instead, Cemre Arda made a firm, calculated decision that has earned her the respect of many of her female peers. She gathered her inner circle and made it clear that she would not be issuing an apology for doing her job. According to internal reports, she expressed a profound exhaustion with the double standards of the industry. "I'm always the one who understands, who calms, who explains. Not this time," she allegedly told her team. Her stance is a powerful reminder of the autonomy required to be a successful artist. She refused to allow her professional achievements to be framed as personal betrayals. She felt that her talent and her commitment to her craft were being treated as secondary to Gawkberg's emotional fluctuations. For Cemre, the kiss was a piece of work, a calibrated performance designed to move an audience. For Gawkberg, it was a mirror reflecting his own fear of loss. This fundamental difference in perspective has created a chasm that may be too wide to bridge. Join the whatever you need inner circle before we analyze Gawkberg's isolation and the final, painful meeting between the two. I want to take a moment to thank our current members. If you are finding value in this detailed reconstruction, please consider clicking the Join button. As a member of Whatever You Need, you help us maintain the resources needed to track these stories across continents and time zones. You get exclusive access to our Theory Vault, where we predict the next moves of Turkey's biggest stars. Support quality, support the truth, and join our elite circle today. Alone with the echoes. While Cemre found strength in her resolve, Gökberk Yıldırım found himself drifting in a sea of his own making. Those close to the actor describe a man who did not sleep in the days following the incident, a man obsessed with the imagery of the kiss. He did not watch it as a fan or a critic, he watched it as someone who realized, perhaps too late, that the person he loved was a separate entity with a life he could not control. "It's not the kiss. It's realizing that I could lose her completely," he reportedly confessed to a confidant. His reaction, which many on social media criticized as exaggerated or toxic, was in reality the culmination of months of almosts. The back and forth, the unspoken vows, and the refusal to publicly claim one another had created a pressure cooker that finally found its release valve in that kissing scene. The kiss wasn't the cause of the explosion, it was merely the spark that met the fuel. Gawkberg realized that by trying to keep their relationship in the shadows, he had inadvertently left Cemre standing alone in the spotlight, where anyone could reach her. Truths without a future. The inevitable meeting occurred days later, far from the prying eyes of the set. It wasn't the romantic reconciliation that fans were praying for on Twitter. It was a clash of two ideologies. Cemre spoke of her fundamental need for freedom to pursue her career without having to seek permission or offer explanations for every script choice. Gawkberg, for his part, spoke of the visceral fear of watching the woman he loved in the arms of another, even if it was staged. "When I saw you kiss him, I understood that I never truly had you," he allegedly told her, a statement of profound defeat. Cemre's reply was equally devastating, "And I understood that you always loved me from a place of control, not trust." There were no shouts during this final encounter, only the heavy, oppressive weight of truths spoken too late. They reached a point where love was no longer enough to mask the fundamental lack of alignment in their lives. The end of an era. The digital world continues to vibrate with the aftershocks of this event. Fans are divided into camps, analyzing every social media like and every deleted photo for a sign of what comes next. But beyond the trending topics and the heated debates lies a sobering reality: loving in the public eye is a high-stakes gamble where the house always wins. Cemre Arda, an actress at the absolute zenith of her career, has had to face the ultimate question: how much of yourself must you sacrifice to keep a love that demands you be less than you are? As of this moment, the silence from both parties remains unbroken. But in this industry, silence is rarely a sign of peace. It is a sign of recalibration. Whether they find a way back to each other or choose to walk separate paths, the set of that production will never feel the same again. The script may continue, but the actors have changed. We want to know, who do you support in this conflict? Is Cemre right to prioritize her career, or is Gawkberg's reaction a sign of a love so deep it cannot be contained by logic? Tell us in the comments. And please, don't forget to mention which other stars you want to see featured here on Whatever You Need. If you found this analysis insightful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your fellow fans. Subscribe to Whatever You Need, and if you can, join our membership program to keep these deep dives coming. Until the next truth is revealed, keep your eyes on the screen and your heart guarded. This has been Whatever You Need. Thank you for watching.